Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first show of Paranormal Perspectives tonight. I'm Tracey.
And I'm Jessie.
And we're members of a paranormal team based here in the Manawatu called Paranormal Journeys and Investigations. So we just thought why not have a show on the NPR station and just talk all things paranormal. So what do you want to talk about tonight, Jess?
Well, probably quite a few things that we could cover. Well, maybe just start off with about the team first and then we'll go from there.
Wow, how many of us now? I think we've got 8 now. Jesse's our last member on board.
Yay.
And you've got your sister Sophia on the team?
Yeah, sure do.
What are you guys mainly into?
We are into pretty much everything. Everything that people don't believe in, we believe in pretty much. We do a lot of energy work. We work with tarot, oracle. We do intuitive readings as well. And
what's an intuitive reading?
So intuitive reading is where we pretty much go based off the energy that we get. We don't dismiss any of our thoughts. We say it, even if they don't make sense, because that's just the way that we like to channel. We channel higher energies through ourselves. So we don't see ourselves as, I suppose, like psychics per se. We have that with us, but we are normally just the vessel that the higher energies use to relay their messages to anyone that they need to go to.
Wow. Now that sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Now myself, I actually began our team, 3 years ago. Mine was a bit of a different start for me. It's basically I was terrified of dying. Are you scared of dying?
No. I'm actually more scared of leaving, the hurt that's going to be left behind with my family if, by God chance, that I do pass on, not really the fear of death itself.
Okay, well, I was absolutely terrified. So probably about 5-6 years ago, I was just mucking around, killing time on YouTube as you do, and I came across a program that a lot of you have probably heard of, Good Old Ghost Adventures, but it was a different kind of episode. They went to a private residence of the Galka family. They had lost their teenage daughter to a tragic accident. And so the father was actually trying to find ways to try and communicate with her. Her name was Mel, and he always kind of felt that Mel was still around in the home, that she still had her presence there. So he started creating some tools to try and help her communicate. Now, one of them you may have heard of is a Mel meter. It picks up different types of energy and it helps let you know basically if there could be a presence around trying to communicate with you. And he also created something else called a spirit box. Now, this makes white noise by scanning through radio stations, but in reverse. So any words that come through obviously aren't from a radio station, or they'd be coming through backwards. And he was actually getting some responses. So the Ghost Adventures team went in and they did an investigation, and sure enough, during a spirit box session, Mel came through and said, "Love you, Daddy." Now, what they actually did to kind of verify if it was his daughter Mel coming through, the family still had her old cell phone with her voice message on it. They, of course, hadn't been able to deal with deleting that. So they played the voice message and they compared it to the voice that came through on the spirit box, and sure enough, they definitely sounded like the same person. But back to my fear of dying, this is actually what made me not fearful anymore, because I knew that if I did pass away as well, that I would be able to come back and visit my family and hopefully communicate with them as well. So that was where my journey began, and not long after that I really got into the paranormal investigating side of things, and I joined a team in Wanganui. But a year or so later I did end up moving out of Wanganui, and here I am 3 years later with my own team.
Yeah.
And, who else have we got on board? We've got Luca. Now, Luca lives out at Hamatangi Beach. We've got Samuel, who's here in Palmerston North. Some of you may actually know Samuel, but I'll let him introduce himself one day. And then we have my husband, Kevin, and we've got Karenza, who is also in Palmerston North, and then we've got Elle, who is in Martin. So we're kind of spread out all over the place. We do have 2 other team members, but they're on leave. They're over in Dannyverk at the moment, so we're definitely spread out all over the place. Now, our team are basically here to help anyone that may feel they have some type of presence in their home or a negative energy. Also, it could be in the workplace, and we're here to offer advice. And if you want us to, we can come and do an investigation that you can choose to be a part of if you like. We also do house cleansing. Now, do you know much about the house cleansing side of things?
Yeah, I actually, it's what I call house cleansings. For me, with my own home, it's my sacred space. So I pretty much try and cleanse my house with sage, crystal healing. It's all about intention. So if I intend my house to be clear of any negative energies, it is. And that's with help from my angels as well. So yeah, I do quite a bit of that on a daily basis.
Okay, so you mainly use the sage, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know if there's other ways that you can perform a house cleansing?
Just normal incense as well. You could use pure water. So I wouldn't say it's holy water, but it's been purified under a full moon, and you just sprinkle that in the corner of your home. Prayer is the strongest way to cleanse anything, really.
Now, do you need to be religious to perform a house cleansing?
No way. Pretty much with a house cleansing, you just need to want your house to be cleansed. So, like I said, it's all about intention. So, if you want your house to be cleansed, all you have to do is ask, and it will be done.
Yeah, now we did have a family, a private residence out in, where were they? Out in Rangatea, and they were having a lot of bad luck. Now, I know that a lot of people have bad luck, but this family, without going into any details, because of course that's personal, but the amount of bad luck that they were having was just astronomical, and gosh, we really felt for this family. So we went out and we had a talk with them and asked what they wanted us to do. Now, first they wanted us to do a paranormal investigation that they chose to be a part of. And now what that means is we set up night vision CCTV cameras throughout the house. We have what we call a base, which in a house is normally the dining room, unless the dining room has been really active and we need to investigate that room. And we have our computer monitors set up where we can view all the CCTV. And then we go about doing investigation by using all our different tools of the trade, such as the spirit box I was talking about before. And then we have the K2, which is a lot like an EMF. Basically, it measures the electromagnetic fields. So you would check along the walls near any power sockets, etc. And if the room or area that you're investigating has no power cords or telephone cords, etc., hidden in the walls, or heaters, TV, electronic devices, but you're getting readings on your K2 and the EMF meter, then there is a high chance that there is a presence there that is trying to hopefully communicate with you and to get some answers. Another tool that we do have is a parabolic microphone. Now, that magnifies sound. A lot of police force, they actually use the parabolic microphone. It magnifies sound, I think it's about 100 times than what the human ear can hear. For example, I live out in the country, and when I first got my parabolic microphone, wanted to test it out. I was inside my house, 2 stories up, and down in a paddock there was a sheep just eating some grass. So I just stuck the microphone up near the window, and sure enough, I could actually hear the sheep ripping the grass out of the ground. So,
oh my God.
I have warned my children that they can't go into their bedroom and have a little rah-rah about me. If I've told them off, I will be able to hear everything. So it's a good tool for your parents to go and get, actually, especially probably once you're hitting those kind of teenage years and you want to know what's going on behind those doors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we investigated this home with, as I said, with the residents. They wanted to be present for the investigation, which they found fascinating. At the end of the investigation, we, of course, don't listen back to all our voice recordings straight away because we do EVPs, which is where we go into a room and have a voice recorder and basically just have a conversation. It feels like you're talking to yourself, but you're, of course, asking questions like, for instance, if there's anyone here, can you please tell us your name? Are there any messages you want to get through to the residents of this home? Maybe how old are you? How many of you are here? Is there a reason you're in this home or in this workplace? Are you connected to the land? Are you connected to the building? And so on. When we went home and listened to these voice recordings, we actually had 4 or 5 voices come through, and they were all different voices. They didn't all sound the same. And they gave us all their names. I'm trying to remember. I know one of them was Esther. One of them was Darren. Now, we do have this EVP on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. Once again, our name's Paranormal Journeys and Investigations. You can have a listen to this. Now, if you are ever listening to a voice recording done through an investigation, you do need to listen to it with headphones on. Whenever they come through, whenever spirit comes through, it's generally in a whisper. It's not in a voice like how I'm speaking to you right now. It's in a faint whisper. Maybe it's because they don't have much energy to have a loud voice, I suppose. I'm not sure why. Why do you think it is, Jess?
I'm not sure. That is one thing that I just would not know. I honestly don't know why they would speak in a whisper.
And I suppose we'll never know until they tell us.
Yeah. Maybe that's something we should ask them.
Maybe.
Why do you speak in whispers?
Now, speaking whispers, I think we'll give you guys a bit of a break from our voice. Right, guys, welcome back to Paranormal Perspectives with Tracey and Jessie. Now, Jessie, do you want to tell us a bit about some of the experiences you've had over the years with paranormal?
Oh, I'd love to. I've actually had quite a few experiences myself. So one of the first experiences when I guess it was an experience rather than a funny story. So I used to watch Ghost Hunt. Do you remember the Kiwi Ghost Hunt?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was one episode and they did the EMF. The EMF? That's the one, and they said the voices through the...
voice recording or spirit box? Voice recording,
yeah.
That's an EVP.
EVP, sorry. The EVP, I'm still fresh at this, guys. I don't know the ins and outs, but the EVP, they had it in one of the basements, and the attic. And the attic was like a little playroom for one of the little girls that was in there. And so when they were looking back at the recordings, they heard this voice, and she literally says, "Please go away." Like whispers it, and I oh my gosh, that was me. I was out. And so at the time we had this long hallway, and I was too scared, so Mum was walking me to my room, and as I was getting to my room, she whispers in my ear, "Please go away." And I was like, "Nah, I'm out." And I honestly nearly turned around and hit her. And at the time, my baby sister was only like 1. So yeah, that was my first kind of intro to the paranormal with watching Ghost Hunt, which was awesome. I actually have quite a few experiences after my son was born. So my son's 4.5 now. But when he was about 6 months old, I used to, you know how you just take loving videos of your children? And so I was taking a video of him after he had just woken up. And there's, those big brown wooden doors. Well, I was looking at this door, and I physically see through the camera and with my own 2 eyes this big orb that comes out of the door above Noah's head and right over me. And I physically see it with my own eyes. I've got the video proof and everything. So that was one of the first instances that I've had. I've also got another experience where me and my son's father were sleeping one day. We're heading off to bed and going to sleep in the lounge. And this was in Sarah's old place actually in Drake Street, and we
Drake Street Fielding, watch out guys.
Exactly. So we were lying down in the lounge, and I was just still, and I could hear, it sounded like footsteps coming up the hallway, and I was just listening, and I was still. You know how you kind of hear something, you just automatically freeze? So I was there for about 10 minutes listening to this sound, and I woke my partner up, and then he's sitting there listening to it with me as well. And when I got up to have a look, there was this shadow under the door that wasn't like, it was just kind of hovering there. And I was like, that can't be a tree, because there's no trees outside the front door to have a shadow. And so we're both staring at this little dark shadow under the door.
So it was the front door?
So the lounge door, not the French doors, but the door going out to the front. You know those ones that you pull across?
Okay, so they were doors going from the lounge into the dining room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was actually the other door going out to the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah, so into the hallway. And so we were, where was I at? I just tend to lose my mind a bit. So we're sitting there watching this, and I was like, right, I'm just going to go over and see if it's something in the hallway. Opened the door, and there was nothing there. And so I was like, right, I'm just going to do a scan around the house, see if there's any windows open. Nothing was open in that house at all. So I shut the door, and we try to go back to sleep, and then I just peek up, and it's still there. And we were like, all right, something's going on. And so my partner got really scared, and he actually grabbed the tire hut off the wall, and we're like, what are you going to do with that? Seriously, what do you think that's going to do? And he pretty much tells it to F off, and as soon as he does that, the whole house shuddered like a massive gust of wind, went right through the house, and it was quiet. It was like deathly quiet.
Oh, okay.
And it took us a while to get back to sleep after that, but that was a major for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
Now, one of my experiences, the very first time I ever actually went out on a paranormal investigation, I was doing a spirit box session. Well, actually, I was partaking in one because it was my first time somebody else was actually holding the equipment and running the investigation. But anyway, we were, as I said, asking questions. If there's anybody here, can you tell us your name? So on and so forth. And the next thing that came out of the spirit box was, "Kia ora, Tracey."
Oh, my gosh.
And I just said to the person I was working with, I said, now this does scan radio stations in reverse, doesn't it? And he verified that that's correct. And so actually hearing "Kia ora, Tracey" coming through on my first investigation, of course, that was it. I was hooked. And that was, it didn't scare me. It didn't freak me out at all. It was just a real buzz. Whenever you have voices coming through or any messages coming through, especially with a spirit box, because it's instant, you don't have to wait and play it back later. It's just amazing. I can't really describe that feeling. But also, going back to the house we were investigating in Rangatia, once we had gone back to the home with all the evidence we'd found, like the voice recordings, all the names we'd heard, we didn't get any photos that showed anything, so it was mainly just the voice recordings. We went back and we had a meeting with the family and asked if these names or anything meant anything to them, and it turns out that one of the names was related. It wasn't a common name, and playing it to them and them hearing the tone of the voice and the sound of the person's voice saying this name and a couple of other things, they were able to figure out who may have been in the home and causing all this bad luck, who as in energy. So they actually asked if we could do a house cleanse. So Jess was talking about a house cleanse before. So we did one of these. We went back, I think we did it that same day because we took everything with us. So we did a house cleanse with the family, and we follow up and check that everyone's okay. And they've said that definitely since the investigation and the house cleanse, that the whole feel of the house is just lifted. It's so much more positive. They're not having anywhere near the same amount of bad luck or bad thoughts, etc. So it's just really nice to know that we can go out and we can help these people. Any of you that ever need any help, even if you just want us to listen to something you've captured or look at photos, that's fine. It's up to you whether we actually come and do a whole investigation. And everything we do is free of charge. I'll just let you all know that. So we're actually hoping to start a charity investigation if we can find a location in the Manawatu area that is if there's a location any of you are really interested in and would love to do a ghost hunt there, flick it through to us on our email, paranormaljourneys@outlook.com, or send us a message on Facebook. You can even contact the NPR page. Just let us know where you think you'd actually like to investigate with us, and we're going to try and set up a yearly charity event and raise money for different charities out there. So we'd love to hear your ideas on that. Now, Jess, Ouija boards.
Ooh, Ouija boards. I don't actually like to call them Ouija boards because that, I feel, has kind of tainted what it actually is and what it's used for. So I like to call it my spirit board or angel board.
Because a lot of people do think they're very negative, don't they, and do not touch a Ouija board.
Exactly. And that's because of movies, like horror movies, that they have used and manipulated it to come across as don't use it because it's evil type thing. And I actually had those views for a while. You know, I was quite scared of them. But finding my own spirituality and my connection with my angels and the divine, I am now not scared. I know that I'll fully be protected if I intentionally ask for that protection with the board. I've actually recently purchased one. I used it last night, which was really cool. And I'm so grateful that my sister is on the exact same page because we've got double whammy energy so we can really enhance the power of it.
Okay, now we will go into. I've just seen the time, and we're nearly up. Actually, we've got to say goodbye in a minute. But in our next show, I would like to talk to you, Jess, about protection and how to protect yourself.
Awesome.
I think that'd be really awesome, and we will get back into the whole spirit board, Ouija board. I definitely think that's an interesting topic that a lot of you would like to hear about. As you said, basically, if you see a Ouija board on TV, it's a horror movie. Yeah. It's never on. It's never got a positive light on it, does it? So definitely we'll talk about that next week. Now, I hope you guys have all enjoyed our first show. Now, just remember, Jess and I, we've never done anything like this before, so we do apologise now if it's been a bit of a strange 30 minutes. But we look forward to talking to you again same time next week. So Saturday, 9 o'clock, Paranormal Perspectives. Lock it in your diary, and we'll catch you then. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.